segment, which I'm going to let Bull set up in a sec, is brought to us by FanDuel because I don't want to be associated with putting this out in the world. And Bull, it's a great question. And it is going to make a lot of people very upset. So I'm going to let you take the heat for this. But it's also brought to us by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is simple to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. And with that, Bull, the floor is yours, my friend.
So we were having a conversation. I think this conversation was off air, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes.
We were talking, and G brought up, we were talking about the NBA, and G brought up when they did that thing in the NBA, I don't remember what year it was, where you got to amp. What's that?
2011.
God, it was that long ago?
I didn't see
I
that
would have guessed 15.
Yeah. And remember, what the NBA did was every team got to amnesty a player. And I think they had like 2 years to do it, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was just 1 year. I could be wrong.
No, it was within the CBA. So it was signed into the 2011 CBA and up to 2015, which is when they were allowed to do it.
So it was 4 years.
Okay, that makes sense why I thought it was 2015.
So
you
got to amnesty a player. Here what it had to be. I didn't remember a contract prior to 2011. Player still got paid all his money, but it got completely erased from the salary cap.
Right.
So we were talking about this, and I said, if you could do that in football, would the Browns or would you amnesty Deshaun Watson, knowing what you know now?
This question is such a good question.
It's tough.
Me and G I was dropping G up to his car upstairs and we was talking about it.
See, now, it's tough for this reason. I think it's easy if you say, if you have a do-over button, do you go back in time and
get
leave this trade on the floor?
See, that's different.
To me, I'm not doing this trade. I wouldn't do it in the first place, but now I have the benefit of 40% of his contract's results, and I'm definitely not doing it. Because you got 5 chances to win that.
Right, but that's not the question.
I know it's not.
The question is, you still don't have you're not getting your pick back.
Now, are you the owner and you're going to have to write the check for that money?
Yeah.
Because
I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Go ahead.
Because
I'm not either.
I'm not doing it for the simple fact that his last 2 games that he played healthy, it showed you that he's good. And they won. He looked really good. And they won a really good game because of him and his performance. We know that this is a quarterback-driven league. And the question is always, can you win a Super Bowl with that guy? And from his last 2 performances, I would say, yes, you could win. And I just think that from a locker room standpoint, it's something about Deshaun that gets everybody around him to buy in and they want to play and be like with him. So I think you got to have a quarterback in this. I can't just buy him out and then be left with Joe Flacco.
Because then you're back at square one.
Yeah, we back at Joe Flacco. Now we talking about if PJ Walker getting the job, then I'm taking this off. Now,
no, but if CJ Stroud was there, you would take CJ Stroud.
Yeah, but I don't have the picks though.
No, you don't.
So you need a quarterback. He is the best thing. Like, why would you?
When I was thinking about this, Bull, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I love to play blackjack, and I said, okay, I'm at a blackjack table. You know how the ebbs and flows of your hits changes.
Of course, the strategy. Yeah.
It's like you get a 7 and a 5.
Ugh.
And you're like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Give me a hit.
I'm about to say.
You get a 2.
Oh, that's even worse.
Now you're like, what? I can't hold.
No,
I'm losing if I hold. But you know what?
You get an 8 next.
So I'm all in.
You getting the bus card. I'm going to just tell you that.
That's what this question is. There's 5 years. Year 1, you got a 2.
I'm holding.
That's your first card.
Right.
Year 2, you got a 4. Now you're sitting 6. But you can take 3 more, and you can get to 21.
No.
So I'm saying, hit me, hit me, hit me. Until I'm going over with those hands.
You got to.
I'm saying, because your point was a good one. Look at his last 3 games. He was averaging about 225 passing yards, which today is okay.
I got to say, guys.
5 touchdowns, 1 pick.
The only thing.
Roll the dice. You're already in the game.
I got to say, guys. We debated this a little already, and I remember the day that the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. I was on the air when the news broke. I went bananas. I was beyond excited.
You were.
I went crazy on the radio when the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. I think what we've seen from him the last 2 years, you guys are talking about he played well in this game. He played well.
No, his last 3 though.
I don't buy it. I think
Well,
he played.
put up his numbers again for
I don't
his
care
last
about
3.
his. Jay, we talk about this all the time.
You don't care about him.
I don't care about the numbers.
Okay.
The eye test.
I mean, he was 3-0.
That's fine.
So you buying
guys,
him out?
Guys, I honestly asked the question, and I haven't been able to. I've gone back and forth on this since I asked you guys the question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the right answer is, because if next year he's inconsistent, first of all, he's got an injury we don't know how he's going to recover from.
That's very true.
He's had a lot of injuries in his career, and in my opinion, he has not looked. When the Browns traded for him, I was excited because the player I had seen in Houston was dynamic.
And we haven't seen that guy.
And we haven't seen that guy at all.
No, yeah.
Not even once.
That's fair.
We have not seen that guy even once.
But
we have not, Tyvis. You know it. You know we haven't seen that guy.
Now, Bull, does it
can I
change
say
your mind that the
something?
defenses are just better today?
No, because I think it's way too small a sample size. We still have some quarterbacks putting up big numbers. There may be less guys. Yes, there are.
Let me ask you this.
Very small number.
Well, whatever. I thought we had one of those guys.
Let me ask this. Okay, you keep him. Kevin Stefanski gives up play calling. You could get Eric Bieniemy in there.
No, I don't want to get Kevin
Yeah,
Stefanski
no.
to give a play call.
No, I'm just saying. You get a OC in there, because what he doing with Washington, if you was to bring that type of offense to Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns.
Well, he's not lighting the world on
do you
fire in
think-
Washington.
You see, but the argument, no, I wouldn't do it for that way.
Okay.
And I think in the end, I would not amnesty him, because I don't see the Browns having a good option right now without the draft pick.
Right.
However, I would say that to your point of, well, defense is trending in that direction. 2 years ago, I thought you did have to have a great quarterback to win.
You're right.
And Baker wasn't great.
I agree with that.
Baker was okay.
Today, Baker could suffice.
Today, I wouldn't want Baker still.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because he turns the ball over too much.
But it's a different platform today.
Yes, but I just want a guy who's not going to turn the ball over and is going to be good.
I agree.
Right.
And I'm not sure. I'm not 100% confident that Deshaun Watson's ever going to be that again.
What was he, 7-4?
And I
on the
can't
year?
believe I'm saying that, but I'm not sure. But in the end, I would not amnesty him.
Right.
But I really went back and forth on it for a while.
G, you've been pretty silent.
Listen, I look at it like this, man. I think I'm the most aggressive. Sometimes, man, you got to go for it. If it's in front of your face and you go for it, I can't be worried about.
This is going for it a second time.
Well, here's the thing.
you
You're
have
saying
a
you'd amnesty
parachute.
him?
Huh?
You would amnesty him?
No,
No.
I think he's saying, like, go for it. Like, go all in.
You already in the game.
Yeah.
him.
You already here now. Like,
That's why I would keep
I
him.
mean, you hear like so.
I paid my fee. I'm at the table.
And you can't. And for Jay's analogy, just because the Texans hit on a bus when they should have stayed on a bus card that the dealer has and got C.J. Stroud, I can't look at him and say I gotta change my strategy now. The strategy says I should hit on certain numbers, right?
Sure.
And so I'm here. It might be ugly for the first three years that have not paid the dividends, but what's worse than that is going back 5 or 6 years when you didn't have it. You had Cody Kessler, the Deshaun Kaisers of the
No,
world.
but they didn't make that move when they were in that space.
No.
They made that move with a quarterback who had gotten them out of that space.
Yes, that's the thing. And everybody in Cleveland should already have the stomach. Because we had the 4 years with Baker Mayfield. Sometimes when you roll the dice, and we rolled that all the way to the end.
We did.
To see what happens. Now, you 2-3 years in. If I turn around and amnesty him, I'm not going to get no picks back. No. I'm not about to get...
No, the only thing you get is the cap relief.
But what if I knew I could sign Kirk Cousins, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year?
Well, you would be able to.
Right.
Like now, to your point before, and the point that you made when I was saying I hated the deal, the point that you made was, how can you hate the deal? This is the first time Cleveland has ever gone all in on the most important position in the sport.
Yes.
And that was your best point when we were counterpointing,
right,
make the trade or not. You're right. But my argument was, that's not the only move you could make. Now, in that slice of time, it was.
Yes.
Because quarterbacks don't fall out of the sky.
Right.
And he was available, and they went for it. Something to be said for that, particularly for an organization that had never done that.
Right.
But we're talking now about a 5-year window.
Yeah.
Would Baker have been good enough for a year and then revisit the free agent window after Baker's last year to see what's available now? And knowing that now you got a $30 million budget or a $40 million a year budget for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're spending now. They're spending $45 million, $48 million a year now.
And people don't even, like, let's be clear. It's not like people are knocking down the door for Kirk Cousins when he signed his deal.
No.
The Minnesota Vikings is like, there's fans that probably think, like, he's the same thing. He's injured.
But he got paid.
He's injured.
Well, he's injured now, but he hasn't been injury prone in Minnesota.
But the thing is, has he gotten them over the hump?
No.
They've been.
No, and that's my problem with it.
Hold on.
The hump is the Super Bowl.
Kirk, fine.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. And there's fair criticism. But neither Deshaun Watson hasn't won anything in the playoffs either.
No, he has not.
And Kirk Cousins has been way better than Deshaun Watson the last 2 years.
Inarguable.
It's not even close.
No, it's
Well,
not even
one played 2 whole seasons. The other one didn't.
Well, no, he hasn't because he's hurt now too. And Kirk Cousins was playing with an awful defense.
He had an all-worldwide
if
receiver.
you had Kirk,
But the year before, they had a great defense.
when last year?
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, they had a great defense.
Great?
Yes.
Don't act like Jay.
Not like the
Jetta
Browns
say
was.
And with Justin Jefferson, too.
I'm about to
got
say,
the better
don't
piece.
do that.
He's got the better piece.
Jay Jettis and
I'm
Hawkinson.
talking about defense.
I'm just talking about Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins' piece.
In general, Kirk
I'm
Cousins.
saying, if you wouldn't you want to have? Don't you think the Browns can win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins right now?
On this team,
Or no?
yeah, they probably could.
I think they could.
I think if Deshaun Watson weren't hurt, they could still win.
By the
I
way,
agree with
they
that,
didn't lose
too.
that playoff game last year to the Giants because of Kirk
They
Cousins.
did not lose that because of
if you found, if
agree
you,
with
if,
that,
if you
Steve.
their defense did not do the job.
They
erase
did
these
not.
2 weeks. Erase these 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Go back to the way he played against Baltimore, and there's 75-80% of the people that's saying the Browns could win a Super Bowl.
Well, for the
I
second
agree
half.
I agree with that
Yeah,
statement.
you're right.
Yes.
See, here's the other thing about the amnesty question that has to come into play.
It's the pick.
You're looking at the ebbs and flows of the players that you're going to have on your roster at the back end of his deal.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 years left. We know the first 2 years have been an abject failure dumpster fire, period. You've got 3 years to make this thing a success. What will this roster look like going into the 2025 season?